Hi, I'm Dr. Stephen Wang and the founder and medical director of the IBS Treatment Center. If you have gas, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. It could be the answer to the riddle, what is both an annoyance and a relief? Right? Gas. Now, what causes gas? Well, gas is produced by the interaction of food with your microbiome. And the reason that you have it is either because there is something wrong with your food or something wrong with your microbiome. Now, allow me to explain exactly what I mean by those things, and then I'll give you an example. Your microbiome is the ecosystem inside your digestive system. Like all ecosystems, it is teeming with bacteria, but your ecosystem is highly individual and easily impacted and altered by your behavior, including your diet and everything else that you ingest. Your microbiome plays an important role in how food is broken down inside your digestive tract. And when food is broken down, it can either lead to a lot of gas or not lead to a lot of gas production, depending on the kind of bacteria or yeast, which we often call candida, that are inside you breaking down that food. And it's not unlike a compost bin. That stinky smell that comes from your compost bin is created by the bacteria breaking down organic material in there. So in addition to bacteria, enzymes are also breaking down your food. Some of those enzymes are produced by your bacteria, but they are also produced by your pancreas and even by the cells that are lining your digestive tract. Now, the health of all those things affects gas production, which leads to another layer of complexity in whether or not you experience gas. And then there's the food itself. Different types of foods break down differently, and they also break down differently depending on the kind of organisms in your microbiome. And they break down differently depending on whether or not your immune system is reacting to those foods. So, for example, if you have a lactose intolerance, you do not produce the enzyme necessary for breaking down lactose, which lactose is a component of dairy. Now, this will likely cause gas. But if you have a dairy allergy, which is very different than a lactose intolerance, that's when you have an immune reaction to the proteins in dairy that can also cause gas. And if you have an imbalance in your microbiome, then you have the wrong bacteria in your digestive system, and therefore those bacteria can have trouble breaking down the dairy, which can also cause gas. So, as you can imagine, this is a pretty complicated world down there, right? A lot of things can cause gas. Now, that same scenario can happen with other foods, like with gluten, or eggs, or corn, or soy, or literally every single type of food that you ingest. So do the math, right? If you've got hundreds of foods times all the different enzymes that are down there, and there are lots and lots and lots, plus all the different immune reactions that can happen to the foods, plus hundreds of bacteria that are down there, and you multiply all of that, it's a very, very complex world, right? And almost none of that is being assessed by your regular doctor or your gastroenterologist. Because you can be missing enzymes, you can be having an immune reaction to the food, you can have the wrong kind of bacteria or yeast trying to break down your food, and therefore you can be producing gas when you ingest those foods or ingest nearly any food. Now, these variables are also what affect the smell of the gas, from really smelly gas like sulfur farts or worse, just super stinky stuff, to seemingly odorless gas. And all of this goes for gas that's expelled at either end, whether it's burping or it's farting. And it goes for gas that's caught in the middle, which is responsible, by the way, for most bloating problems, which can cause a tremendous amount of pain also, that bloating can. So you can produce a lot of gas very quickly, which in turn can produce an incredible amount of pain very quickly if it's trapped inside that 30-foot long tube that's running through that we call the digestive system. Now, I'd also like to point out that chronic burping is hardly ever from swallowing air. I can't tell you how many times patients have told me that another doctor told them that it was probably just swallowing too much air. That's a really lame excuse from someone who didn't know what they were doing and they just wanted to get you to go away. So you have burping because food isn't being broken down properly in your stomach or your upper intestinal tract. So how do you treat gas? Well, most people end up treating gas by taking something like Gas2 or simethicone, right? But this usually doesn't work very well because it only addresses one kind of gas production and it only treats the symptom, not the cause. And this problem is probably not something that your gastroenterologist is going to be able to help you with, right? Because solving gas problems is the expertise of an IBS specialist. And an IBS specialist will help you figure out and treat the issues that we talked about in this video. And that takes a lot of work. That takes a lot of deeper investigation to sort through all those variables. But then once you know what they look like and what they are, then you can treat them so you can move forward with your life and be propelled by something other than gas, right? Be propelled by hopefully your great joy of not having gas anymore, because that's our goal for you, is to not have gas. And we have helped thousands of people from across the US and literally the world solve stinky gas and irritating and uncomfortable burping, and we'd love to help you too.